I epilated my mustache yesterday, so I thought what better time than now to film a video. For today's video, I wanted to talk to you about how we ruin fashion. How to ruin fashion. I can sense when a trend is coming to the end. One of these things will happen to it. It will just make it insufferable. That's what I wanted to talk to you about today. How to ruin fashion. Shall we begin?
Oh. That's it, I'm not going.
First thing I have, put it on a pair of jeans. You may have heard me talk about before in the past, leopard print jeans. I think that completely ruined leopard print. I quite like leopard print. I do quite like leopard print. I liked it before this cycle of leopard print. You would often see it on bags, maybe a jacket, faux fur type thing, maybe a slinky little dress. And I quite like it in that Y2K style with like hot pink. I think that's a bit of a look. When you see it every now and then, you think, oh, leopard print. But in this round of leopard print, we decided to slap it on absolutely everything. And I think the nail in the coffin with all these trends is when you put it on a baggy jean. I have seen this now most recently with a pattern that I actually really did quite like and now think has been ruined by putting it on a jean. The cowhide, cow print, pony fur trend. You put it on a baggy jean and it's just absolutely awful. I mean, maybe also that's because I'm starting to actually not like baggy jeans at all. So maybe I'm biased because I'm starting to think that baggy jeans, a plain wide-legged jean, is just a bit boring for me now. So maybe it's that. But no, this is not my problem. Sorry, no, this is not my problem. It's not me, it's you. It's when you put it on a baggy jean is when you start not liking it. I professed to liking the cowhide trend months and months and months ago. I mean, I wouldn't say I've eaten my words because something has happened for me to change my mind putting on a baggy jean. But yes, I'm no longer interested. Sorry, ruined. Next thing on my list, give it to all the influencers. May I draw your attention to the Adidas Taekwondo shoes? Yes, it's good in an immediate PR stunt of find all the fashion influencers whose job it is to take pictures on Instagram. Give it to them and they will put it absolutely everywhere. But if you just give it to, let's say, Ruby Lynn, she will work her magic and it will be absolutely wonderful. However, the faux pas they have made is giving it to every single influencer, and not every influencer has the same style. However, they're all trying to wear the same shoe. Sometimes certain people have certain styles and they forget their own personal style and they lose it to Instagram and Pinterest because they see influencers wearing it. I think that this is what happens when you give all the influencers. You pay them to wear a certain thing that's new, and unfortunately that is what happened with the Taekwondo shoe. Not necessarily the Taekwondo shoe, that flat shoe in general, because I do think it has kind of also happened with the Puma ones as well. Now I feel like you can't wear an Adidas Taekwondo or a Puma, the newest iteration of Monstro shoes. I feel like you can't wear them anymore because they gave them to all the influencers and they're now not a personality, I think. Unfortunately, ruined. Next thing on my list is make a new version of a vintage item. We find a vintage item that we liked way back when, and then we regurgitate it in modern day times. However, when we regurgitate it, we change a certain element to it to fit the current trend cycle. And I believe that ruins it, completely ruins it. What happens is that we find something that we like. I'm going to use an example here. For example, Y2K is trending. And Y2K, I don't believe is a micro trend. I believe that obviously we had the Y2K trend in the 2000s when everyone just dressed that way. I think that Y2K, not in the 2000s, is actually quite popular and has been popular for a while. We realise that this trend is popular and we take a certain element out of that trend and put it in modern day times. Juicy couture, tracksuit pants, and juicy couture in general. We see Paris Hilton, Britney Spears wearing these things and we think, oh, people love Y2K, we're going to bring it back now. However, you don't just recycle the vintage pieces from that era. What you do is you make a new version of it, and it's just not quite the same because it has that new twang that just kind of ruins it, I've got to say. New clothing to me is a bit icky. I hate saying that stuff is icky because it's just lost all meaning to me now. But in general, I don't like the look of a new item of clothing, particularly if you are wearing a vintage item and you have a new version of it. Also, may I draw your attention to the New Religion jeans. Again, turn it into a baggy jean and you've ruined it. True Religion jeans were definitely a skinny jean. They were a bootleg jean, tight on the bum, maybe a bit loose around the ankles, with that iconic logo on the back, that flap pocket horseshoe logo. true religion. Did I say new religion? I meant true religion. You bring it into modern times and you make it into a baggy jean, and it's just not the same. So I think if you're looking for a Y2K item, you're buying something vintage from an era before now, go for that actual vintage item. Otherwise you will just look like you're trying to replicate something rather than actually liking the original trend. I think, I don't know. Next thing on my list, give it a name. I'm talking aesthetics here. As soon as you brand a certain item of clothing or a certain way of wearing clothing, it makes it cringy and I don't want to wear it anymore. May I draw your attention to mob wife aesthetic. It's so unnecessary. Big fur coat and kind of like edgy, grungy way of wearing it. Kind of felt a bit cringy for a while. Even though I haven't explicitly said it, people who spend all their time on TikTok and Pinterest will know that I am perpetuating this aesthetic and I don't want to feel that, so I can't wear it. Maybe I'm just an overthinker, but that's what I think. I think whenever I wear something that is pathologically online, I think everyone can tell, and I don't want to wear it for that reason, no matter whether I like it or not. Think to any aesthetic for this, any oversaturated aesthetic or any made up aesthetic. And another one that comes to mind is the bloquette core, pairing feminine items with masculine items. I think in theory this is a really good thing. My wardrobe is basically menswear, is very heavily menswear. But now I feel like I can't wear that menswear with a little dainty skirt or a flowy skirt or something. People will point at me in the street and say, look at that bloquette core girl, which we can't be having. Do not reduce me to an aesthetic. And I feel like that's what having an aesthetic does. You can't then wear it unless you want to be known as that aesthetic. Sad. Next thing on my list is make a dupe of it. Making a dupe of something makes it too easily accessible, unfortunately. Yes, you want fashion to be accessible, but sometimes making it accessible means fast fashion, means turning it into a fast fashion item, and means that you lower the quality of the original item. Particularly, I'm seeing this in the Gemaguous bag. Maybe it's just studs in general as a trend, but I think that that specific shape and the way that the studs are being done in the Gemaguous bag is now sort of being done on a load of fast fashion items. Unfortunately, it just means that your lovely Gemaguous bag is now no longer unique, this interesting item from a small brand. It's now something you could have potentially just got off insert other mega Chinese rip-off manufacturer. It's a shame because it detracts from the original item, I think. No matter how much you say it doesn't, I think it does. Believe what you will, take you what you will from this. Anyway, next. Next on my list, make a cancelled character wear them. I promised in a video about a month ago that I would stop talking about these, and lo and behold I did stop talking about them because I do believe that they've fallen out of fashion. I'm talking about the Sambas. I think that the reason why we stopped talking about them was because Brits over here, you'll relate to this more than my American girlies, but Rishi Sunak decided to wear a pair. As soon as you put an unlikable character in some item of fashion, or as soon as a character is cancelled who has been seen wearing a fashion item, the item essentially gets cancelled as well. And may I say, since Rishi Sunak wearing those Sambas, I haven't really seen them much. Sorry. Next on my list is make Jaded London make a version of it. I don't know if this is just me. I think I have some kind of personal vendetta against Jaded London because they just seem to ruin everything. As soon as I see something on Jaded London, I immediately take a disliking to it. Maybe this is just because I'm feeling particularly angry with Jaded London. Recently, I saw Jaded London do a fireman clasp fur jacket. The disappointment I felt was extraordinary because I love that fireman clasp. I even went as far as looking on Etsy for my own fireman clasps that I can attach to my own jackets just because I love those little lobster clasps so much. Literally holding hands, and you can't get cuter than that. However, I saw Jaded London make a fur jacket with some lobster clasps and suddenly I no longer like them. I also think it's because Jaded London seem to trap unique influencers who sort of aren't really on the radar. They trap them and then turn them into just every other fast fashion influencer. But Jaded London, if you're looking for brand deal, pay me enough and I'll do anything. Jaded London defying items of clothing ruins them. Final thing on my list is saturated on Pinterest. I left this one to the end because it's very obvious and I think everyone speaks about it very often. As soon as you make it a Pinterest trend, it is just a bit cringy and horrible and everyone knows about it. I think that this is a particular characteristic of Pinterest, more so than Instagram, TikTok, or any of those other kind of things. I think because you are so drawn to typing in da-da-da aesthetic on Pinterest and you see them all on one page at once, whereas with TikTok or Instagram, you only see it once because you're looking at the person you follow or at the video someone's making, and then you scroll to the next video and it's something else. Whereas with Pinterest, you see them all in one go and it's like, wow, okay, everyone's doing this, I'm not anything new. I think that there is definitely a Pinterest aesthetic and certain influencers who live up to the Pinterest aesthetic. The hyper trendy, oh, I hear a doorbell ringing. It's not my own. I wonder whose that is. Pinterest girly is a thing, and it's not just someone who spends time on Pinterest. Pinterest girly, the aesthetic, is someone who is hyper trendy, new items of clothing rolling in every 5 minutes and seems to appear in every trend going. Like you can find them in red, leopard print, sambas, pumas, taekwondos. You can find them in everything. And sorry to those girls, but you know what? You're making more money than me, so get your bag. Love you all. And that is everything I have time for today. I really hope you enjoyed that. Lesson on how to ruin fashion. Are we ever going to stop? No, of course we're not. Why don't we all just wear uniforms? Let our personalities do the talking. What a horrible idea. Love you all.